But on wildlife trafficking, we also have an issue in Namibia. And it's not only in Namibia, it's unfortunately pervasive in many countries in Africa. And it not only has devastating impacts on wildlife and tourism, ecotourism in particular, but also helps to fund terrorist activities. And that link has been confirmed more probably in the last decade than prior to that, and it continues to be a problem. So I guess my question is, do you have a commitment to this conservation program that Namibia has attempted to implement? There is legislation that Senator Coons actually drafted. He's the author of the End Wildlife Trafficking Act. I was one of his co-sponsors, and it encourages you to provide support, particularly with community conservation efforts. So can you talk a little about that? Senator Isaacson's question about economic development was focused on AGOA, and you talked about the importance of beef exports, and that is important, but I would assume, and you tell us, that ecotourism is even a bigger part of the economy in Namibia, and that wildlife conservation is key to keeping that ecotourism healthy.
Thank you, Senator. I actually have a very strong commitment to conservation and environmental protection coming from Washington State. It's very close to my heart. The Namibians actually brag about having enshrined environmental protection in their constitution, and they have been a model for sub-Saharan Africa in their communal conservancies. So I think they have over 80 of them now, and that's a strong partnership between the government of Namibia, local communities, NGOs, and the US government that actually provides some income for local communities from ecotourism and sport hunting. But Namibia does still have challenges. There was a spike in rhino poaching last year. 2/3 of the world's black rhinos are located in Namibia. I think there were 60 poached last year. It's down to 27 so far this year. They also have trouble with illicit wildlife trafficking networks, which are becoming increasingly sophisticated, as you alluded to. So that's why we do continue to put some resources into grants with international NGOs, where we're working with the Namibian government on their draft national strategy to combat wildlife trafficking, and also providing some training and technical assistance for Ministry of Environment and Tourism park wardens and for customs officials. And we're also going to be working with them on the judicial side to ensure successful prosecutions. I think one of the really good signs is a single animal is poached in Namibia and it's front page news. The Namibians know how important it is for them to protect this resource. So I think, I definitely commit to you that if confirmed, I will continue to implement the intent of the End Wildlife Trafficking Act, which has really helped us to strengthen our international partnerships and cooperation with countries to combat wildlife trafficking and poaching.
Well, I thank you for that answer, and I appreciate your commitment. Let me ask you about a specific program. As you know, Namibia is engaged in a regional effort as well with other countries, Botswana, Angola, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and some conservation organizations to conserve the Okavango River Delta, which is such a critical habitat for endangered species and apparently an amazingly beautiful area and critical to ecotourism in the region. We've now invested as the U.S. government, as I understand it, $40 million to help conserve that delta through watershed management programs and resource management programs. I assume you're aware of that program, and if confirmed, will you commit to working with Namibia to engage deeply in this Okavango River Basin project?
Absolutely, Senator. I actually had the fortune to visit the Okavango Delta when I served in South Africa. It is a beautiful area, and you have my full commitment to that effort.
Great. Well, again, thank you all.